War. War never changes. Throughout human history, this one concept has always been ever present. Extracting heavy tolls, many argue that this endless fighting ends with no winners on either side. These wars are events that world leaders strive to resolve while suffering the least amount of casualties, sometimes resorting to ways that are morally ambiguous. One of the biggest events like this in recent history was the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. It leaves many wondering, was this the right thing to do? Could it have been avoided? Critics are in disagreement. Some say that the bombings are justified. Some say that they weren't. Some are unsure.
I don't know, I just got here.
Many arguments, all valid, leaving the final take up for debate. Was it worth it? Watchmen is a 1986 comic book created by writer Alan Moore and artist Dave Gibbons. It follows a group of vigilante superheroes who aim to better the world around them. Around the time of the Cold War, tensions are high. People are afraid of the possibility that any day now, a nuclear war would break out between the Soviet Union and the United States, causing a nuclear holocaust that would be felt by the whole world. The genius, self-made billionaire Adrian Veidt, also known as the superhero Ozymandias, was determined to prevent this from occurring. Using his funds and intellect, he engineered a telekinetic squid monster and dropped it into New York, killing 3 million people. His goal? To scare the people of the world into uniting against a bigger threat, averting the war and saving billions of lives. As the main antagonist of the novel, he was opposed by a small group of vigilantes. One of the most notable characters, who wouldn't bend to Ozymandias' will, was Rorschach. Because of his upbringing, his philosophy differs largely from Veidt's. His views are morally absolute, treating certain actions as intrinsically right or wrong, regardless of context. It is these two opinions that got people thinking, who was right? These two views align with the two opposing frameworks in normative ethics, utilitarianism and deontology. Merriam-Webster describes utilitarianism as the theory that the aim of action should be the largest possible balance of pleasure over pain, or the greatest happiness of the greatest number. Veidt follows his doctrine to come to his decision. By sacrificing 50% of the people in New York, he will unite the world in an age of illumination so dazzling that humanity will reject the darkness in its heart. On the other hand, Rorschach follows deontology, defined as the theory of moral obligation. In other words, it is the belief that actions are inherently right or wrong, regardless of their consequences. This is seen with Rorschach as he refuses to go along with Veidt's plan, as he sees the act of murdering 3 million people as morally reprehensible. Even when Veidt succeeds in bringing his plan to fruition, now that the act has been committed and the lives cannot be brought back, Rorschach still feels the need to let the people know of what really happened, compromising not even in the face of Armageddon. These two opposing beliefs are what Moore and Gibbons were keen on expressing in their novel. To see which philosophy you align with, let's consider the classic trolley problem. You are at a railroad switch and an unmanned trolley is speeding along the tracks. The track switch is currently guiding the trolley to the right set of rails. You can see that on the right, there are a group of 5 people tied to the track. On the left, there is 1 person tied to the track. You can't stop the trolley, and you can't reach any group of people to help them in time. All you can do is switch the track the trolley will follow. Do you A. hit the switch and let the 1 person be hit by the trolley, or B. do nothing and let the trolley hit the 5 people? If you said A, the 1 person, then you probably think like a utilitarian. A utilitarian would weigh the positives and negatives of each option and determine that the scenario that would create the most pleasure over pain would be the one where the least amount of people died. If you said B, to leave the track as is, You might think like a deontologist. A deontologist would consider the morality of deciding who would die and the action of pulling the lever to condemn a person to death and decide not to do anything. This debate between Team Ozymandias and Team Rorschach has brought a lot of arguments for who was right. If Ozymandias succeeded, he would save the lives of billions. Humanity would thrive. The world would be a better place. On a mathematical scale, it would be the lesser of two evils. Unlike shutting down localized crimes, this outcome focuses on the structural threats affecting all of humanity. But critics argue that slaughtering millions of people is inherently evil, regardless of the outcome. All those innocent people were means to achieve this end. They argue that he strips humanity from their choice of choosing their own fate, becoming a godlike arbiter, and that fragile peace built on a lie is highly unstable, which makes the supposed utopia vulnerable to crumbling. On the other hand, with Rorschach, he realizes that human dignity relies on human justice, and that a world built on a lie is fragile. Unlike others, he refuses to compromise his code for convenience or personal safety, choosing death rather than endorsing mass murder. By refusing to compromise, he honors the agency of normal people, asserting that they deserve to know what happened. His critics state that his absolute morality is dangerous, as he risks the return of nuclear war just to do the morally right thing at the time. They state that he prioritizes his own morals over the tangible peace of the world. The debate for who did the right thing is heated. The two sides are equally matched, neither giving up ground. Until another challenger enters the octagon. One of the biggest arguments against Ozymandias is spoken by Dr. Manhattan in the final chapter. Veidt asks him if he did the right thing, as it all worked out in the end. Manhattan replies, "Nothing ends, Adrian. Nothing ever ends." What he meant by saying this was that you can't be sure that it worked, that this is not the end. J. Robert Loftus explains it perfectly in his critique of the Watchmen. Utilitarianism asks us to look to the future and some of the consequences of our actions, but the future is infinite, and you can't crunch the numbers when every one of them turns to infinity. Perhaps in 5 years, something will happen that undoes the good that Veidt did. Then 10 years after that, something good will happen that could only have happened given Veidt's actions. With infinite possibilities, anything is possible. Given time, all good and bad will come to an end. The utopia Veidt built will come to an end. Einstein famously said, "So long as there are men, there will be wars. As long as people exist, there will always be fighting. Conflict is inevitable." So that's it. No matter the preparation, no matter the sacrifices, people are doomed to fight and suffer. In the end, nothing that we do matters. Why fight when we are destined to lose? We should just lay down and let the world beat on us until we can stand no longer. I say not. Why should we never bother trying to change anything? Why do we struggle? All the sacrifices your ancestors made for you to have a better life, are they meaningless? All the things that had to happen for you to exist, are you yourself not a miracle? Is the life you lived meaningless? It is not. We give our lives meaning. In the grand scheme of an infinite universe, you might not amount to anything. You might not save the world or come up with a cure for cancer, but you lived your own life. All the joy you create for others. Every time you get out of bed to live another day in this world. All the struggle you had to endure to get to this moment. All your dreams and ambitions. They mean something. Every time you wake up in the morning, remember, you are special. You are a miracle. You exist for a reason. What is the point of us being born, if not to live?